There are punishments we imagine as distant, reserved for a final day, a final reckoning, a final judgment. But what if punishment is not only something that awaits? What if it follows? What if it returns with us? In a profound dialogue recorded in chapter 18 of Haft al-Shareef, al-Mufaddal sits before his master and asks a question that opens a door into one of the most unsettling spiritual realities, the punishment of Maskh. He asks simply, how is punishment in Maskh? And the answer does not begin with fire in the grave, nor torment in some far-off realm. It begins with disbelief. The master tells him, in every land, Allah created an iblis, and from their disbelief and the disbelief of their progeny He created fire after light, fire. After light, light is the original state, illumination, guidance, recognition. But when truth is rejected, when arrogance replaces humility, when ignorance is chosen over knowledge, something shifts, light collapses inward, and from that collapse emerges fire. This fire is not merely physical flame, it is a reality born from spiritual rebellion, and Allah gathered within that fire different varieties of punishment. Different forms of affliction, different manifestations of suffering, not randomly, not unjustly, but precisely to correspond to the nature of the disbelief that produced it. This, the master explains, is how punishment unfolds in Maskh. Maskh transformation, incarnation, return in altered form. It is not simply a physical distortion, it is consequence taking shape. The conversation then turns to a verse about the people addressed. Long ago those who were told, and to you there came Joseph in times gone by with clear signs, but you ceased not to doubt the mission for which he came. At length when he died you said, no messenger will Allah send after him. The verse speaks to outers, to those who persist in skepticism even after clarity, to those who witness signs yet cling to suspicion. But al-Mufaddal raises an important question. Who exactly is being addressed here? These people are spoken to in one era yet reminded of events from another. They are being told of their reaction to Joseph, though they stand in the time of Muhammad. How can this be? The master answers, this is a warning to the first that they were warned before this incarnation in former incarnations. You are now in bodily forms. You were warned before, you doubted before, you rejected before, and you have returned. This is not merely history being recounted. It is memory being uncovered. The implication is sobering. Disbelief does not dissolve with death. Arrogance does not vanish automatically. Ignorance uncorrected may reappear clothed in new flesh. Maskh then is not random reincarnation. It is continuity of consequence. The master continues by reciting, the threatened hour is nigh. None beside Allah can disclose it. And he explains that this means they wear the mask bodies without any revealer. No one can expose the true nature of their transformation except Allah, the one who created them. Imagine that, to walk in a body that is itself the result of prior disbelief and not even know it, to live out consequences without recognizing their origin, to laugh, to dismiss, to continue in heedlessness. Then comes another verse. Do you then wonder at this talk? And you laugh and do not cry, wasting your time in vanities. This is not casual criticism, it is astonishment. Do you laugh at this? If you truly understood what cycles of incarnation might await persistent rebellion, you would laugh little and cry much. The laughter here represents distraction, vanity, attachment to fleeting amusements. We occupy ourselves with noise so that we do not have to hear the warning. We consume distraction to avoid reflection. But the teaching is clear. You are distracted from what may befall you through reincarnations in Maskh. The call is not despair. The call is awakening. Prostrate to Allah and worship Him, because worship realigns the soul with light, and only light extinguishes the fire born from disbelief. The Master then broadens the teaching beyond punishment. He speaks of the believer. In every time and age, the believer has no true purpose until he knows Allah and knows His doors and His veils. What are these doors? They are the means of access to divine knowledge. What are these veils? They are the layers that conceal reality from those unprepared to see. To know Allah is not mere belief in existence. T is recognition, relationship, alignment. When a believer attains this knowledge, something profound happens. He becomes perfect in knowing. He reaches the rank of the safe and thankful ones, and he rests from chains and shackles, chains of ignorance. Shackles of ego, bondage to desire, knowledge liberates. But Iblis and his offspring, the Master says, were ignorant of Allah in every age. They did not know Him, they did not seek His doors, they rejected His veils, and so their disbelief became complete. Completion of disbelief is not mere doubt, it is settled rejection, habitual. Rebellion, and when disbelief becomes complete, incarnation into Maskh becomes incumbent, not arbitrary incumbent. As Allah says, and the penalty of the hereafter is far more grievous and more enduring. Maskh is not the ultimate punishment, it is lesser, temporary, corrective. Then comes another verse, and indeed we will make them taste the smaller punishment prior to the supreme punishment, that they may return. This is perhaps the most striking element of the teaching. The smaller punishment is meant to cause return to awareness, return to humility, return to knowledge. Maskh then is not merely retribution, it is opportunity. Opportunity wrapped in hardship, opportunity disguised as consequence, opportunity to awaken before something more enduring arrives. The narrative leaves us with an uncomfortable mirror. If disbelief creates fire, what are we creating? If arrogance shapes incarnation, what are we shaping? If distraction blinds us to warning, what are we laughing at? The teaching does not demand fear alone, it demands introspection. Where do I persist after clarity? Where have I been warned yet continued? Because the cycle described is not mythology, it is moral law extended across existence. The believer's safety lies in knowledge of Allah, in seeking His doors, in recognizing His veils, in refusing to allow doubt to harden into rebellion, and in understanding that hardship may not be abandonment but mercy, a smaller punishment too. Prevent a greater one. The fire born from disbelief need not define the end. Light existed first, light precedes fire. The path back remains open, but laughter must become reflection. Vanity must become worship. Heedlessness must become awareness, and the soul must choose knowledge before ignorance becomes complete. Maskh is transformation, but transformation is not only punishment, it is also possibility. The question that lingers is not merely theological, it is personal. If you had lived before, what would you have rejected? If you return, what would you correct? And if this incarnation is your warning, will you recognize it, or will you laugh? The call remains simple: prostrate to Allah, worship Him, know Him, and step out of the fire before it shapes the next form you wear. Peace.